So then, if you're in the predictable future, think about this, reason this, and that's the known, then known would equal same. Yes or no? And if you're in the familiar past, and that's the known, and that equals the same, and you're thinking memories of the past and you're feeling emotions from the past, then your energy is the same every single day. Yes or no? And if your energy is the same, then nothing new is going to happen in your life, because in order for you to create something new in your life, you have to change your energy. When you change your energy, you change your life. Yes or no? And if you're trying to predict the future and the emotions associated with every single event in your life, and that is the known as well, and every one of those thoughts of your predictable future is the known, and you can predict the feeling of it, then your energy is going to stay the same, and it's going to be the same as the past. Yes or no? And your life is going to stay the same. So then people say, okay, I'm going to do my meditation first thing when I wake up in the morning so I don't feel guilty because God's going to be mad at me back here. Because God really is, never mind. Anyway. But when they're doing their meditation, they're thinking about their coffee. When they're drinking their coffee, they're thinking about taking a shower. When they're in the shower, they're thinking about getting dressed. When they're getting dressed, they're thinking about their emails. When they're doing their emails, they're thinking about work. When they're at work, they're thinking about vacation. When they're on vacation, they're thinking about work. They're never in the present moment because the brain is an anticipation machine. And it's trying to anticipate the next moment. And as long as you can predict or anticipate the next moment, that's the known. And so the brain has been programmed into always trying to lay a known down over the unknown. And there's no room for the unknown in people's lives. How many people understand? If you can change your thoughts and feelings, and it would change your life, why is it so hard to change the way you think and the way you feel? It's just a conditioning process because you've been thinking and feeling the same way for so long that that's become the habit. And people anticipate their life to be the same as the day before because they're in that unconscious program of expecting it to be that way. And they're viewing their life from that same level of mind. And they can't get out of bed in the morning because the body already can predict the emotion of every experience. And the body's resigned and it wants to just be lulled into commonality and familiarity. Does that make sense? So crisis is one way to get out of that. Would you agree? So then, those of you who know me know that I'm very passionate about this concept called mental rehearsal. You could take a group of people that have never played the piano before and divide them into two different categories. In one category, you can teach these people one-handed scales and chords. You will do a brain scan on them before they learn those scales and chords. They come for 2 hours a day and they practice those scales and chords for 2 hours a day, every single day for 5 days. At the end of 5 days, they rescan their brain, and lo and behold, they grow new circuits on the opposite side of their brain. Nothing really magical there. You learn something new, learning's making new synaptic connections. Yes? You get some instruction. When you get some instruction, you get your body involved. When you get your body involved, you have a new experience. Experience enriches circuitry in the brain. Yes or no? Pay attention, be present in what you're doing. You got to pay attention and repeat it and concentrate and fire and wire and fire and wire. You're going to assemble new neural architecture as a reflection of your interaction in the environment. Yes or no? You take another group of people, do a brain scan on them. Instead of them actually physically playing the scales and chords, you have them come into the laboratory, you have them close their eyes, play a metronome, and for 2 hours, these are college sophomores, by the way, mentally rehearsing playing the scales and chords over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. And at the end of 5 days, they grow the same amount of circuits in their brain as the people who are physically demonstrating the activity. Now think about this. Their brain looks like they've been practicing the piano for the last 5 days, but they never lifted a finger. Yes or no? The brain looks like they've already had the physical, real-life experience, but they haven't yet. The brain just looks like they already had it. You with me? You take those people that have never played the piano before, you set them in front of the piano, and like magic, they could play those scales and chords because they've primed their brain ahead of the event. Are you with me still? All right, so you can change the brain. What about the body? You can take a group of men. bring them into the laboratory, test the strength of their bicep muscles, and then for an hour a day, they can close their eyes and mentally rehearse doing bicep curls and add an emotional component of stronger, harder, more intense. And for an hour a day, they're rehearsing doing that activity. At the end of just 2 weeks, 13.5 increase in muscle strength, and they never, ever lifted a weight. Now their body, I know what you're thinking. Now their body looks like they've been in the experience for 2 weeks, yes or no? Their body's changed by thought alone. Are you with me? Now think about this. You wake up in the morning and you start rehearsing, just like the piano players, just like the muscle exercises, all the people you have to see, all the places you have to go, all those feelings of those certain staff meetings with those certain people, and you start rehearsing your known reality. Would you agree, just like the piano players, just like the muscle exercisers, you're priming your brain and body to look like your day has already happened, yes or no? And you're now in the program, and your body and mind are going to follow suit because you're programmed into that future. Does that make sense? This says where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Yes or no? Yes. This is your outer world of physical reality, and this is your inner world of thoughts and feelings. Now, your outer world, there's been research done that says that when you make what's called an episodic memory, memories that are episodic or related to events are connected to objects, things, people at certain times and places. And you freeze an image in the brain, and that's called a memory. Are you with me still? So your outer world is made up of bodies, objects, people, things, places, yes or no? Certain times. Your inner world of thoughts and feelings is what you manage. So if you wake up in the morning and all of your attention is on your cell phone, that's an old phone, by the way, and that cell phone is connected to your WhatsApp, or to your texts, or your Instagram, or your Twitter, or your LinkedIn, or your Facebook, or your attention is on your computer. Well, let's draw one. And that's connected to your emails. But then you have to think about your job. And then you have to think about your boss. Then you have to think about your projects, which makes you think about your coworkers, which makes you think about your enemies. And you give them a lot of your attention. And then, of course, then there's your partner. And don't forget your ex. And then there's your kids. Yes? And then there's your siblings. And then there's your parents. And then don't forget your in-laws. They're weird. And then, of course, there's your friends. And then there's your face. Got to give that attention. Then there's your body, got to give that attention. Don't forget your pain. And then there's your diet. Then there's your car. Then there's your pets. Don't forget your pets. That's a good thing. Then, of course, there's the news. And then there's your finances. Let's just do a money sign, or lack of. And then there's your house. Now here's my question. If where you place your attention is where you place your energy, how much attention or energy do you have for your inner world of thoughts and feelings to create anything new if all of your attention is on your outer world? Once you wake up, 86% of the people, I read the stats, that have a smartphone, that's the first thing they do in the morning. And once they turn on their phone, it connects them to all of this. Yes or no? So then are all these things in this board, are they knowns or unknowns? So if they're knowns, you've experienced them, yes or no? And if you've experienced them repeatedly, you have a neurological network assigned to every one of these things, yes or no? And then when you throw in the hormones of stress and the brain is aroused, and to different degrees of living in emergency, as you try to control and predict all these things in your life, as you shift your attention from your coworker to your enemy, to your partner, to your ex, to your cell phone, to a meeting, to your boss, to your diet, you're activating each one of these circuits in your brain, and the arousal of those chemicals causes you to fire those circuits very inconsistently or incoherently, and the brain begins to fire in a very disorderly manner. Yes or no? When the brain is incoherent, you're incoherent. Yes or no?